It's time for us to take back our communities and create unity. Come take a walk with me. Get it, King T finesse. We hit the streets running. You know we coming. Building with knowledge to inform, to bring the love in. It's the unity in our community. Reform, move on to be strong. It takes you and me. Bring the issues, let's talk about it. Make a plan, bring it to life and never doubt it. To inspire, keep you going higher. Words put to action, fuel to the fire. Life gets better when we do it together. Brown eyes, King T finesse, time to get up. Get up. Get up. For everyone the best. Hit it, King T finesse. Join in and catch the vibe. We here. Welcome to Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. And we got another exciting episode for you guys to kick off for this new year, 2022. It's February, the month of love, the month of Black history, yes. The month of so many feelings, thoughts, and things to talk about. And that's what we're here for. But first of all, I want to introduce some very special guests that I have here tonight with me that have a wealth of history with them, a wealth of gifts and talents that we're going to be talking about. First off, I want to introduce to you Mr. Daryl Shalik with the Big Beats Pistons.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Next up, we want to introduce you to Mink Harden, one of the best artists and so many other things here in New Jersey. Beautiful sister. Y'all going to learn about her and love her, so get ready. And last but not least, my right arm under the wings, making my music float your boat. Give it up for Terrence King T Finesse Johnson. The man with the beats that sounds so sweet. You know, so we happy to be here. You know, we kicked off this show this year so that we could bring people on to talk about great things that people are doing in the community. And first off, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes is a project that was designed to reach into the depths of the community to actually shine light on people who are often overlooked. You know, people like leaders, activists, nonprofit organizations, musicians, artists, you know, visual and performing artists, and young people. People just like you and me that are out here in the community using our gifts and our talents and everything that we have to not only just big up ourselves, but to also be a part of what others are doing so to make a great life and success for people. So we're happy to be here. It is our desire that we come together with others so that we can not only just discuss things, but also highlight the great work that's going on in our communities. So that is what Community Vibes with Brown Eyes is all about. And I'm just so excited. I feel a lot of good things that's going to come out of, you know, these shows and people coming on to share what it is that they do. But before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to our first sponsor, you know, for this year that sponsored us, you know, to be able to do these shows. So I want to run the sponsorship for Pam Lewis and Connectus in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We'll be right back. Special thanks goes out to Executive and Founding Director of Connectus, Pamela Lewis, who is our first sponsor for Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. Recently awarded a Community Impact Award by Fairfield County's Community Foundation, Pam leads Connectus by bringing together suburban and urban neighbors in partnership to improve the quality of outcomes for young people living in communities of concentrated poverty. One of 3 programs is Connectus Academy for youth aged 16 to 21 who want to cultivate skills and learn to work in a professional business setting. For 14 weeks, students attend weekly after-school workshops at companies throughout Fairfield County. The program prepares young people to enter the workforce, pursue educational opportunities, and face challenges in new ways, and helps all involved to better participate in and navigate our increasingly complex world. Another program, See You on Stage, is a talent show program where young people aged 5 to 25 take responsibility for producing the shows, from inviting their friends and family to leading the audience in appreciating and supporting every young person who performs on stage. This program is designed as a place for young people to network with one another, creating new performances together, and learn how to be punctual, dependable, and part of an ensemble. This is a powerful community building activity, and the young people experience success often for the first time in their lives. Kudos to Pam Lewis and her team at Connectus and for supporting Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. All right, give it up for Connectus, CT. And y'all saw the introduction for the MLK Day show that was already done, and it was a great show. Hopefully I could show bits and part of it. We are going to be interviewing the executive director of Connectus next month, at our show. So please be on the lookout for it. We're going to talk a lot about community organizing, a lot about, what the young people did at some of these shows and how I was a part of it as well. So it was very exciting, powerful presentation that happens every year in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. Songs, dance, raps, all types of letters and statements in honor of him and to him. So today's show is going to be about how music and art affects our lives and our communities. And we all know that music, we can go way back years and years and years to how music has affected us and has, actually progressed with us as a people, as human beings even. From, from cave days they talk about, from slavery days, where we used to sing and use music as a way to give each other a message on where we were going and how we were going to escape and music, as an expression. Music is everything. And we're going to talk about that today, how it affects the community and how the community affects music. Because most of the time when people are performing, they put their feelings, their thoughts, and whatever they're going through in music. And one of the biggest things that music was involved in, being that it is Black History Month, is the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. I mean, music was a very big thing. You have people like Nina Simone, James Brown, a lot of old-time singers that really used their gift to express how they were feeling during those times.
And Chuck D, if you go into the hip hop.
And Chuck D, absolutely.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Fight the power. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Ella Fitzgerald. A lot of the artists that were back then, a lot of them were going through situations where they were going out of town. They weren't welcome because of the color of their skin or who they were, and even when the marches took place, people had songs, We Shall Overcome, and held arms together and walked. And these songs empowered them. They gave them power. They gave them inspiration and encouragement to keep going and to fight for what the dream was for them to have equality here in this country. Whether people like it or not, Black history is American history.
Yes.
It took place, and February is the month that we usually celebrate it, even though we celebrate it every day, because I'm Black all day, every day, right? But it's great to be able to, acknowledge not just the fight that we had to do, but also the great things that we created. We created some great things in this country. We built this country from scratch. I mean, from buildings to light bulbs to the telephone, all types of inventions and everything. And music was always intertwined in every rally, in every conference, in any type of get-together that we had, even when we were depressed. We came out, that's where the blues came from.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my tears in the blues. I can't sing, but, they put it all in the blues.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All the stories. I think, that's where hip-hop come from.
Yeah.
They put the words to the music to speak about the blues or whatever it is that they want to express.
Rap existed before rap existed.
Rap existed before rap existed. Yeah. Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. Exactly. So we've come a long way with music, and we're still moving forward. You know, like I like the whole thing with Afro beats now, and I think they got a big advantage because Afro beats has some of everybody in it. They got hip hop in there. They got calypso in there. They have reggae, definitely reggae influence, house, Latino, Latinx music, everything. Like Indian sounding music from India. Like they took music from everything and everybody, and then added their own twist in their native tongues and language and sound.
Dances.
Beautiful.
And it drives everybody crazy.
Yes.
So you can have an Indian person, you could have a person from Jamaica, somebody from America, and then somebody from Haiti or one of the other islands together in one room enjoying the same music.
Yes.
And loving it and feel some type of connection.
Go back to Nigerian Sade. She's Nigerian.
Oh yeah,
listen to music. Look at her dance. She's doing what you're seeing today. She's doing her dance.
She's doing
Look at her videos.
From how long ago?
I was like, exactly.
From how long ago? Right?
So
this been in the making for a while.
It's been here for a while.
Yeah,
it's been here.
Yes, it's been.
It's just crossing over.
Fela Kuti. Everybody played Fela Kuti, and everybody took his beats and stuff and made other music.
It's been here
and things like that.
It's just didn't cross over.
So it's powerful, music and art. You know, because art has always been powerful as well. You know, and we got some powerful artists here, and actually, I'm gonna save the goodies for a little later. But right now, I want to run my little slide that I put together in honor of music and arts history for us in civil rights and here in America. Beautiful. Run the civil rights slide. Music and art. Music and art. Before the centuries of time, before our very beginnings, there was always sound and a rhythm in the atmosphere, and we would come along and create music, sending our tones, our messages through lyrics, through body movement and sound. Was a great, powerful tool during the civil rights movement, was a great, powerful tool to communicate for our ancestors, to talk to each other, to find ways of freedom and peace. And when music wasn't available, we had art, able to take our minds and recreate with colors, recreate with black and whites, take a print or a shot and express ourselves through what we felt we needed people to know and how we thought our communities can grow. Yeah, music and art, music and art. So many ways to express, so many talents to give. They make a powerful statement, and it's a powerful tool that we've always used to overcome our circumstances, our suffering, and our pain. Music and art. That's music and art.
That was nice.
That's music and art. Powerful, empowering, inspirational.
Yes.
And real.
Yes.
Yeah, that was dope.
You know, like sometimes I don't even know what's more real. Is it the music or is it the art? And together they make an expression. That's why, you know, every time I do a song, T Finesse say, hey, I need your artwork. Because the cover of your CD, I was going to say album, but you know I'm old. You know, the cover of your CD, or they don't have CDs now, but you know, the cover of your advertisement.
It's album now.
It's your album. Yeah. You know, is the artwork that express whatever it is that you performing or who the artist is, what they represent. And so art is very, very, very important. You know, and you guys are very important. So speaking of you guys, I want to talk to you guys to get to know you. I'm going to start out with asking a question. You know, like music in my household back in the days, I grew up in Brooklyn. A portion of it was Crown Heights, Eastern Parkway between Troy and Schenectady. That's Crown Heights. And then I grew up in Brownsville when I was a teenager to a young adult. And in my house, my mother always played James Brown. She played Curtis Mayfield, the Stylistics.
Yes.
All kind of. She broke the James Brown album in half one day because me and my brother kept rewinding it back to the cursing part. And she got upset and took the record and broke it. And we was like, wow, but we used to like to listen to that all the time, to her music that was very powerful. She always used music to make us smile and laugh, even when we didn't have any food in the refrigerator or in the cupboard, even when the lights were getting ready to go out because we didn't have enough money to pay the bill. Whenever anything happened when we were down, my mother always had a song or some music to play in spite of it all. To bring about a good feeling in the house.
Absolutely.
So I want to hear about, from you guys. Tell me a little bit about yourself. First with Shalik. If I, introduce you to somebody and I say, hey, me, Shalik, with the big beats. First of all, we got to represent Brownsville, Brooklyn is in the house.
Brooklyn.
Brownsville, come on,
nothing
represent.
But captains and generals from Brownsville.
Nothing but captains and generals, from Brownsville. But if I was to introduce you and tell me a little bit about yourself and about what types of music and art attracted you growing up in Brooklyn.
Okay, well, as you say, I'm from Brooklyn, Brownsville, Brooklyn. As far as back as I can remember, my brother was, when he get paid on Friday night, he would come home and he'd dress up, ain't going nowhere. He'd put on his brim hat, his turtleneck,
right.
And he'd play the record player. And we'd just hang out, he'd drink his Schaefers and Millers.
Lord, Schaefer and Miller.
Teddy Pendergrass on and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes on. And that's how it got into me. It was a disease.
Right. Well, so what's some of the artists that you liked when you were younger? Like maybe you heard your brother or your parents play that you could remember?
As far as, like I said, Teddy Pendergrass, Curtis Mayfield, even Isaac Hayes.
Yes.
Those are hot songs. You didn't even realize it was a hot song. Even the Whispers,
Yes, the Whispers, yes.
Yeah, and actually the Whispers was the first record, when I got my turntables, those are the first records I spent back. Because I forgot the name of the record, but it was a loop on one of their records. We used to spin it back. But anyway, after buying my first turntables, that was it for me. That took me off the streets. We had on my projects, we did have a center that we went to and played basketball and stuff like that, but I wasn't a sports guy. I had asthma when I was a kid.
Wow.
So I couldn't play with the regular kids, so what I do? I put that energy towards music.
Right.
I got me some turntables. Me and my friend used to get on a train and ride all the way to the Bronx just to get the latest break beat, and from there we gave parties. We was charging $1.50 to get in. That's how far I'm taking it back.
Oh, he's taking it back.
Taking $1.50 to get into our parties, and we was doing it,
Yeah, I remember back in Brownsville, they used to have abandoned buildings, and they would go in there, would fix up the lights from the light pole, the electric from the light bulb, and have a whole party in an abandoned building.
Abandoned building.
Until the cops came and shut us down. But, wow.
To the parks and everything.
Yeah, that was a thing in Brooklyn and the Bronx.
I was there when hip hop was born, so we was there.
Yeah.
We was there.
We grew up hip hop.
Yeah.
Grew up hip hop, and even to the days, James Brown, I give him much respect because a lot of hip hop artists sampled a lot of his music. A lot of his music was being sampled during that time to create, different beats. There was a lot of sampling going on.
And guess what else it did? It created thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
It made me an engineer. It made me a producer. It made me a DJ. I didn't know. But it did. Right. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, I'm gonna have to say it inspired you to be because you had that gift in you.
It was
already.
Exactly.
It just inspired you. Right. It didn't make you, but it inspired you, and that made you use your gift to become this powerful engineer and producer that you are.
I could charge for this. All right, let's see. Let's see people buy. Come on, hip hop. music. I'm not saying hip hop,
Yes.
but music just did it. It
Yes.
created a lot of things like that.
Right, and I'm a hip hop head, because in Brooklyn, that's what we did. We sat outside in circle of rhymes all the time. And one thing that hip hop did for us, it did keep us off the street, but it also allowed us an outlet, like a therapeutic outlet,
Yes.
to be able to write our thoughts. Our therapists always say, write your thoughts down, write your feelings down. We already had that method.
Yeah.
We put it in rhymes and we battled each other. That was back in the breakbeat days and the beat streets and a break dance and we battled each other and we didn't fight until later on in the 80s when the crack era hit. Then everybody started getting crazy out there. So it was a good way.
Hip hop stayed the same, but life in the hood changed.
Yes.
Because hip hop took a good chunk out of that violence and stuff.
Yes.
It did.
Life in the hood did change with the drug, and then when the lyrics had to change, because the lyrics were, like we said, based on what we were living.
Exactly.
Based on what we were living, and a lot of people put a negative stigma on hip hop, but they don't realize if you take away poverty or fight poverty and give the poor impoverished environments the things that they need, they will have less of these things to talk about in their raps or to glorify. Because you don't leave them nowhere else but to glorify them things. But that's another show.
Yeah,
We're gonna get on that.
Hip hop is now today.
Yes, in the music industry, they push that. So young people they talk about it.
Why is music bad and movies are not?
And movies are not. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's so much violence in movies.
Yes.
Way before hip hop.
Way before hip hop.
Way before hip hop.
That's
Yeah.
Black exploitation.
The Godfather. The
Hip-hop probably
Godfather,
got
they
the-
was killing people back and forth in the
They get the lyrics
Godfather.
from the movie.
all the gangster movies.
Come on,
Yes.
Cowboys and Indians.
Cowboys,
Yes.
the westerns. Yeah.
Yes.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Violence didn't start with hip hop.
Violence did not
Definitely
start with hip hop. All hip hop did was talk about the violence that a lot of young people were living, and they wanted to express what they were going through and
Ghetto
what
life.
they did not want to be in. They was trying to come out of that.
Yeah.
But going over to Miss Mink, tell me a little bit about you growing up, and a little about if I was to introduce you to someone, who is Mink? Tell me a little bit about you and what music influenced you in art.
Oh, wow. Well, I was born in Jamaica.
Jamaica,
And I came up when I was 11. And my
Right.
father collected music. And my father was a big music lover. So music was instilled in me from very young.
Right.
And then I remember he had got the system, when everybody had that system with the glass door.
Yeah.
He built his own dual decks and got a mixer, and he started doing house parties, Jamaican house parties, reggae parties.
Nice.
So he taught me how to DJ a little bit, taught me how to break the system down, dismantle it, set it up at the parties, and I started DJing with him. But then I got into house music. He would play the reggae, I would play the house, and I was doing this when I was in high school.
Right.
When I was in high school, and so that started giving me a deeper love for music, because I grew up on all the classics, Ray Goodman and Brown, the
Yeah.
Stylistic,
Oh, Ray Goodman and
Gladys
Brown,
Knight,
yeah.
Brown, yes.
Wow,
yes,
she said that.
Gladys Knight, So I love music from a young age, but I also grew up with reggae.
Yes.
And reggae taught me bass and horns and
Yes.
drums and all of that. So I had a vast love for different genres, because he would play classical, reggae. Disco was a big thing in Jamaica. We didn't have
Right.
club and house music back home, but disco.
Right.
And I fell in love with club music when I came here, like in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
I was like,
Jersey
anything that
is
made me
big for club
dance, because
music.
I love
That's
to
so
dance.
strange how
That's-
if music make you dance, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I came up.
What
Yeah.
is that? Is that
Sounds
some
good, it's
chemistry?
good.
I love to
That's what
dance,
Duke
so
Ellington
the
said.
house
If it sounds
music.
good, it's good.
We got an innate rhythm in our head.
Yes.
And house music was very big and still is very big in New Jersey.
Oh,
see, we
huge.
didn't listen too much. I didn't listen to too much house in New York. But I'm gonna tell you what was big in New York that I grew up. I used to play reggae music so much. My daughter thought until she was like 13 we was Jamaican. I'd be in there, guess who's coming to dinner? a nutty dreadlocks, big pot of curry chicken and dumpling, you know, and my daughter be in there dancing. And she said, Mom, I always thought we was Jamaican until I got about 13 or 14 years old.
That's funny.
You know, because reggae music was a big influence all around the world.
Huge.
Because it got very big, and you know us black folk, when anything black and make people move, that's our music. So we took it. It was the house and it was the reggae music, you know, and people used to do chat rap and things like that, because I used to even do, you know, chat rap and scat rap all that. I used to do all those things, you know, and people used to be like, are you Jamaican? And I'm like, no, but I'm Jafaican. Okay?
That's me on there. I'm Jafaican.
I'm Jafaican.
Because I listen to reggae more than I listen to anything else nowadays. Reggae in house, that's all that's playing in my house.
Yes, and they were doing the same thing in Africa because they weren't popular, you know, with hip hop and or the younger generation. They were not doing that, so they were in love with the reggae music as well. You know, as much as Jamaican artists talk about Africa, they was respecting that, you know, and they loved the music, you know. So, you know, that's a wonderful thing. And not only that, in the civil rights movement, a lot of people don't like to talk about him, but he made a lot of inspirational leaders here, and that was Marcus Garvey. You know, a lot of people don't like to talk about the work that Marcus Garvey did coming from Jamaica and not liking what he saw in black people all around the world not being respected. So he tried to do something where he accomplished those things, but it always was sabotage. I mean, I'm talking about like building our own banks, you know, buying boats so that we could go back, whoever wanted to go back to Africa.
UNIA,
you know, he founded the UNIA, not because he wanted to be this group of people that hate other groups of people, but he was trying to say, in order for us to love another group of people, we got to learn to love ourselves and have something for ourselves, so that we can be happy with our own self, and then we can, you know, be happy with everyone else in the world.
It's still an ongoing issue today.
Yes, it's still an ongoing issue, but a lot of I want to give him his props, you know, because he did a lot, you know, and a lot of people don't talk about him because he was radical. You know, they don't talk about a lot of the radical leaders, but those radical leaders, I mean, I saw his story, Marcus Garvey. He was in Jamaica, and his best friend when he was younger was a young white girl. And when she became of age, her father sent her away and told her that she could never be his friend or speak to him again because he was black. You know, so when he came over here to America, he thought he was coming to something different. But then when he came over here and saw how people were treated, he said, look, we got to do something. We have to start a movement because we just want to be equal. We got to start our own things. If they want to allow us to go there, let's create our own. And, you know, I have to give respect to him for that, you know, even though a lot of people think the pro-black organizations and a lot of people are causing more harm because, you know, they want to do things on their own and with their own. But I think that's more of a thought of we got to get ourselves together. It's like they tell you on a plane, put your mask on before you can save somebody else. That's what that's all about. And I don't think there's, in my opinion, anything negative about it. I think it's a great thing to empower people to do something for themselves so they can feel good when they look at other people because they're able to equally do the same things. And so that's what I, you know, like about him coming from Jamaica and Bob Marley, all his political, you know, things, and Dennis Brown. And, you know, there's so much music from even outside of this country that led to be an inspiration to so many other people all around the world. I mean, all kind of different countries. How about you, Vanessa? What you was doing over here in Newark, New Jersey?
Newark, New Jersey. It was real revolutionary.
Oh, he giving you some props.
James Brown. It was James
there
Brown.
There go James again. James was it.
Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
So,
that was like really like big. Like you would constantly hear it on the radio. You know. And from there, we would hear a lot of the moments. But you said Ray Gupton and Brown.
Moments,
They were known as the Moments back in the
in
the 60s, you know.
Right.
And then going into the late 60s into the 70s, it was Jimmy Cliff.
Jimmy Cliff, yeah.
He was big. You know, that was my first time ever hearing reggae when I heard Jimmy Cliff. You know, The Harder They Come. You know? Like, I had never even knew what a Jamaican was. But when we heard that song and we went to see it in the movies, in the movie The Harder They Come, oh, man, we were blown away.
So you heard him before you heard Marley?
I heard him before I heard Marley.
Wow.
Yep.
You know, and it makes a difference what you hear. Everybody, it affects everybody differently. You know, really differently. I remember when I was younger, and the first I ever heard of rap was believe it or not, it was the Fat Back Band who started off. They used to talk over the music, and then it became the Sugar Hill Gang. You know, and
That's
as a young person, I was very inspired in Brooklyn. You know, I used to write poetry, and I started putting my poems to music whenever I was at the street jams when they had the DJs in the park. And one night I put my poem to a song, and everybody just started screaming. They're like, "You should start rapping. You should start rapping." I'm like, "Really?" And they named me. I shouldn't say it, but it's gonna follow me for the rest of my life. But my first rap name was Fatty B.
Really? My DJ name was Spanky D.
Spanky D?
Spanky D.
And we had our little sweatshirts, and you get your iron-on name in the back.
I had my belt buckle
with your name on it, you know. But I felt so proud because I had all these older people. I was the secret weapon for the Master Blaster crew in Brownsville, Brooklyn, you know, on Pacific Street. And every time they had a battle, they would set one DJ at one end of the park and another DJ at another end of the park. And they would save me for last and be like, "You're going to be our secret weapon. So when we bring you out." And so my mom used to come downstairs and say, "It is 9 o'clock. She got to go in the house." They like, please, you know, let us stay out low. We're going to take care of her. We got her. You know, and I would come out on that microphone at 10, 11 years old and start rapping. Everybody would go crazy. Like, oh, my God. You know? And I used to wear my Master Blaster a sweatshirt, you know, that made me feel so good to the point my mother said, "You got to wash that thing. You let it stay every day." But it builds a pride when you do something in your community and everybody's there screaming for you, supporting you, and making you feel good.
You became a queen in your kingdom.
Exactly.
That's when it started.
Using my gift.
Yes.
That's when it
Your
started.
talents. Your
Exactly.
skill.
All of us. Exactly. So when did you start? I'm going to start with Charlique. You know, when did you start, you know, feeling, you know, really knowing that you had a skill and you really wanted to put it to work to do some professional stuff? When did you start feeling that?
When I charged my first client.
That's a good one.
First dollar.
No, I felt it when I sold my first beat to somebody who's actually had a record deal.
Right.
That's when I was like, this is it. I'm out. I'm gone. You know?
See?
And I felt so proud.
You felt proud. You wanted to take your dollars to the wall, didn't you?
Yes. If I could, but that little $1,500.
But is that still a thing now? I remember back in the days, people used to put their money in a frame. The first dollar.
You still see it in the poppy stores. They still do that.
Oh my goodness, I remember that. And how about you, Mink? When did you know that you had something that was worth, like, you know, you felt like people had a demand for?
It's funny you ask that because I wanted to be a lot of things when I grew up. I wanted to sing. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a makeup artist to celebrities. I wanted to have a restaurant and all of that. So it was hard for me to kind of decide what I was going to do when I got older. And I knew I wanted to be an artist in high school. And when I graduated high school, I wanted to go to an art institute. But my father, you know, he's going to see this video. My father being Jamaican, I couldn't come to my father and tell him that I wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the whole thing with the Caribbean is, you know, you further your education, you know, lawyer, doctor, teacher. So I was like, okay, let me try this nursing thing, but it wasn't for me.
Right.
It wasn't for me. So I struggled with that, you know, for a while because I didn't have anybody telling me, go for it, you know, do that. You know, we didn't have that influence growing up. It was just like, oh, that Mink, you know, Mink's doing her little hobby thing with her art. So it wasn't taken seriously. But fast forward, and, you know, I've had people telling me, man, you got this talent and you're wasting it. You know, you got this God-given talent and you're not using it. And I never understood that. Because that was the first time I'd hear people, you know, telling me that. I'm like, what do you mean I'm wasting my talent? Yeah. So it wasn't my late 20s, 30s. I said, you know what? Because I used to paint on jeans in high school, and I was charging my classmates $20. I done painted Malcolm beautiful. X. Wow. I was jipping myself, though. I was staying up at night, not getting any sleep. Next, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning, it's time to go to school.
Don't say you was jipping yourself. You were finding yourself.
You was finding it.
So that was a great moment.
Yes, thank you. But I was charging them $20. They had Malcolm X on their jeans and Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse and
I remember that too.
And Martin Luther King on their jeans, and I'd go to school the next morning, you know, and that's when I knew I got a taste. Like this is what I want to do. This is
Right.
it. So it took a while for me to really, make up my mind and say, Mink, this is, because you want to try and do things to make your parents happy. And that's the problem. A lot of people do what their parents want them to do and not fulfill their dreams.
And especially people overseas and other
not
countries.
live their passion.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who are in professions that they didn't want to be in and hate it. My stepmom told me a story of a doctor who said, you know what? I didn't want to do this doctor thing. I wanted to be a farmer.
Right.
So he retired and bought a farm and is happy. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to let anything stop me anymore. So I attempted to start my whole Mink's Verbal Art thing in my late 20s, early 30s. And that, was doing good for a while. And then, as I wasn't good at marketing and things like that. So the business slowed down and I felt like I failed. But I didn't know that's a part of it. That, that's how you learn.
Yes, it's like riding a bike.
That's how you learn. But I didn't have anybody, I didn't have anybody coaching me or teaching me or anything, a mentor or anything. So everything I learned, I kind of learned a lot of things on my own and I learned the hard way, but it was good. But I didn't realize that, because my thing was I had this challenge of not feeling like a failure when something that did fail.
Right.
But it's easy to
I
say,
think we all
damn,
had that same. I think
that didn't work out.
I think I did.
And I had to realize, no, I'm not a failure.
No, you're not.
I just got to try this a different way and go this avenue. And then, it teaches you what not to do. So I started taking it really serious. I was like, you know what? This is it. This is what I want to do. I don't like working for other people.
Right.
I don't like other people telling me what to do. And I got a taste of being my own boss when I was a store manager at Hamilton Mall in Mays Landing when I was 19 years old.
Right.
They done gave me my own store, and I was hiring people, terminating people, training people.
They saw that skill coming
So I got
into
the
you.
taste of what it's like to be a boss, and I was like, this is it.
Right.
This is what I want to
Well,
do.
speaking of taste, let's get a taste of some of your work and put some of Mink work up here so we can show the people just what Mink does.
Wow.
Could paint on everything and make it beautiful. And she's colorful. She brings life to things. You paint with a lot of vivid and bright colors that brings life to the painting and the room. And I'm getting my painting this year. I want my warrior. I want it on my wall, and I'm going to get my painting. But let's give her another round of applause for all her great work.
What's up with that beat? Take that beat.
Oh no, that went to Vaughn Lee. DJ Vaughn Lee got that.
Yeah, see what Mink does is that I like is she takes her painting, like when you saw her with a young man named Oogie. If you don't know, he was murdered. He used to be out in the community all the time. He used to dance everywhere. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him. And somebody murdered him. And they still have not found his killer yet. And during that time, it was such a sad time for the community. Mink painted a picture of him so colorful and vivid. And she went out there, and she was out there at the vigils. She was out there with the media. She was out there with the people that were in pain and using her art and her presence to, be in the community and support and bring some type of support and comfort to the people there. And I really appreciate it, just like you did with Bismarck. They lost him, and you painted him, and they were so happy to see that painting of their loved one.
He loved that painting.
It was so powerful. You know? And speaking of pain, we got somebody else in here got the nerve to have another talent. Okay, not only is he the beats, Pearson Shalik the beats, but he do a little painting too. I understand that over the COVID quarantine, you decided to do some painting of your favorite two people. Tell me a little bit about that moment. What made you want to put your hand to some canvas?
Well, yeah, I have these big walls in my house that has nothing on it, so I was redecorating the house, and I was going to these stores looking for something to put on these walls, big 60 by 50 size, $2,000, $3,000 with the frame. I'm
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like, oh no, I could do it myself.
Right.
I bought me some tarp.
Creativity.
I bought some wood. I made my own frame.
Wow.
Yes.
And I painted my own picture.
Exactly.
And put it on the wall.
Abstract painting?
Abstract.
Ooh.
Well, let's show a little bit of Shalik's work up here on the screen. Let's give it up for Shalik's Artistry. And the painter, and the t-shirts,
I'm gonna keep going.
and making everything work.
That's dope.
From Beville, Brownsville. Check out the t-shirts, the sweatshirts, and the designs.
See, creative people, we can't just do one
can't
thing.
stop.
I mean, like, so many
I
times.
tell my kids, don't ever tell me you're bored. Don't ever
I
tell
tell
me
my
you're
daughter
bored.
the same thing.
Don't ever use that word. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to music, how we all, I was thinking about that. We had people in our house playing music when we was growing up.
Yes.
When my kids was growing up, we didn't play music. I was running a recording studio. So they didn't get the same energy
thing
I
you
got when I grew up. So
Yeah.
Right,
my
yeah.
son went towards doing what I'm doing, which is producing and recording people.
Great.
And my daughter, she listens to the Korean group.
Right.
So K-pop. So they wouldn't. But you see how your parents
My
will
daughter listened to it too.
Influence. Yes.
influence certain things.
So how do you see yourself being an influence in the people that you work with and create music with in the community?
My influence is, don't ever tell me you bored. Don't tell me you can't make no money.
No, I'm talking about what you do with them, because see, I don't know if you realize this, but that's community work.
Right.
And what I mean by is that you stayed in your community where you are, created a business out of your home so that
Yes.
people can reach you in the community so that they can be able to come to you to create whatever is on their mind and in their hearts, and then take that material and go out into the world and share it to touch other people.
Absolutely.
So it's not that you just telling them and inspiring them through your words and what you're saying, but it's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're helping people dreams come alive.
Absolutely.
You're helping people words come alive on music with tones, and for them to go out and to perform this thing and lift somebody else up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it travels far and wide, and who knows how far and wide.
And I always get someone sitting in my control room and ask me, "Did you go to school for this?" No.
Exactly. That's
Self-taught.
what everybody in here. Self-taught.
Self-taught, yeah.
This
Self-taught.
guy right here, King T Finesse, plays. I got to talk about it all the time. He plays every instrument you put in front of him, and never went to music school to learn it.
See?
I'm talking about the drums, the piano, the guitar. I mean, anything.
Self-taught on the guitar, self-taught on the piano.
See?
Self-taught. Self-taught.
When it comes to
Self-taught.
when it comes to like they're artists on canvas. I'm an artist with audio sounds.
Yes.
I take the most abstract sounds that I can find in the music spectrum, and then I put them third
All
music.
right, we got some masters in here. Play that master.
You are watching a master at work.
You're watching some masters at work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're watching some masters at work.
Yeah, I learned how to play the recorder at 4th grade. I learned how to play the clarinet in 5th grade.
Wow.
The first thing you said was a recorder.
Recorder. It's like a
yeah.
flute,
It's like
right?
a little flute,
Yeah.
like about that long.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Recorder, yeah. It's like a flute. It's like a piccolo almost, like a piccolo flute.
Okay.
Just he plays everything.
So I learned how to play that first, and then I learned how to play a clarinet after that. You know, and then years later, I got into just teaching myself how to play piano, guitar, and everything else.
So I want y'all that's looking right now at this video right now. You got a powerhouse of talent here. I'm talking about you got somebody who plays every instrument. He's an artist himself, sing, write his own lyrics. We got another singer here, writer, painter. You know, she makes muffins and food. She sells jewelry. If you look at my beautiful pearls on my neck, I got those from Mink's Gold. Mink's Gold. You know, so you can get jewelry from her to make you beautify yourself. Then we got the videographer here that flipped my video coming into this show. You know, he's his own engineer.
Websites.
He has his own studio. He develops websites, flyers.
Clothing,
he got t-shirts.
designer.
Like, come on, you got to hit Shalik Beats up, the beat shop. You got to hit him up. You got to hit up Mink's Gold, and you got to hit up Mink's page, and you got to hit up King T Finesse page.
Come do a
to
song
get
with
these
me.
things.
You end up going to his studio to record. That's
And
for
if you
sure.
let me get a couple of bars on there, I'm a little old, but I can still spit a little something. I'll put some on there for
And me
you.
and my DJs got to come and do something.
Oh yeah,
too.
DJs. I forgot all about that into music now.
Yes.
But I want to ask you guys, what do you think about how, like, now that we had this discussion, how, your life has been affected, by music and art or the arts period? How has it been affected by, the arts?
How could you even summarize that? I mean, it changed my life completely because as a creative being, when I wasn't tapping into my artistry, I was depressed and didn't even know the reason why.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
True.
didn't
Yes.
understand
True.
that.
I've been there.
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand that until
right.
as soon as I start painting, I'm like, ooh. As soon
right.
as I started singing or writing or baking or whatever, as soon as I started doing things with my hands and using my creativity, I came alive.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Now that I know exactly what it is, no one's going to take that from me again.
And that's a good thing. And I'm glad, aren't you glad, people out there, that she didn't allow to take it? Make sure y'all check her out. And I also want to ask you too, Shalik.
A lot of us, minorities grew up poor and
Absolutely.
depressed. We don't realize that we depressed.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Like what you
Yep.
just said, yeah.
to get a job and plus have a hustle on the side, a legit hustle on the side, that's doubling your income,
Right.
So it opens your mind.
Yes.
Use it. Don't just sit there depressed and want to shoot somebody or rob somebody and take it.
That's right.
No, you can express it.
Yeah, because we're all
Other
here.
ways.
We are all here for a reason.
Yes.
Exactly.
We all have a purpose.
And music can take you a long way. And one thing back on, Black History Month, something I want to talk about before we run out of time is influence. And one person I want to, talk about is Nichelle Nichols, is the person I was named after. She's the first Black woman to be on TV, and she was on Star Trek by the name of Uhura. And she worked on the Star Command ship with Dr. Spock and Captain Kirk. And she was
Beautiful
the first time a Black woman kissed, a white man on TV, and they lost it.
Say her name again?
Her name is Nichelle Nichols. Yes, and she's still alive today.
Yeah, she's still
And
alive.
one thing about her I just want to say real quick is that she started out singing and dancing with Duke Ellington. She was on tour with Duke Ellington,
Wow.
and she wound up auditioning for a television show before Star Trek, and she played a lieutenant on that television show, and then wound up getting on the first, Star Trek. And she suffered a lot of, ills, being the first Black person, a woman. They thought she had too much power on the show, and she was actually going to quit the show. But lo and behold, she went to an NAACP conference, and somebody told her that a fan wanted to talk to her and say hello to her. They admired her. And she said, well, who is this? They say he's coming right now. She turned around, and it was Dr. Martin Luther King.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Martin Luther King told her how proud he was of her and how inspirational that she was. And she said, yeah, well, thank you, but I'm getting ready to quit, because she was tired of all the pressure.
Yeah.
And she said, I think I'm going to go back on the road and sing and do something different. And he said, no, you can't do that. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're breaking into, the hope that you're giving others? And so because of him, she stayed.
And
not
paved
only
the
did
way.
she stay, but she got inspired because she started realizing that there were not a lot of minorities going up into actual space in NASA. So she wound up, coordinating with NASA and she wasn't even a space person, just a actress. But they allowed her to become a recruit because of her spaceship experience on TV. And she recruited the first black astronauts that went up into space. And I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't think a lot of people know that. You should read up about her. I thank God that my mother named me after her. I feel honored, and I just want to show a couple of pictures of her for people who don't know who she is. Nichelle Nichols.
Yes. Beautiful lady.
And it's crazy that you talking about that because I collect statues of Marvel.
That's her at NASA talking to young people back in the days. She started the program, and that's her today, still as a representative for NASA. A lot of people don't know that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. Did y'all know that?
I have a collectible.
And she has a documentary. Let's give it
They
up
don't even
for
show
her.
that in the media.
She has a document. No, they don't show it in the media. She does have a documentary called Women in Motion, and you should watch it. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It is a very good documentary. It'll bring tears to your eyes. It's so good. So I just wanted to give her props because there's many people who have inspired us and have paved the way. And my name is Nichelle, and I work in a command center now. It might be for transportation, but it's so weird. I'm working in a command center now, and I'm trying to get out here and inspire people to do more with their lives. So with that, I want to bring it over to our Music in Moments with King T Finesse, and talk to him about music. Like if, a young person or anybody come to you and they say they want to be in the music business, what is one of the most important things that they might need to know from you?
One of the most important things they would need to know if they're going to be a songwriter, producer, musician, is to make sure you have your business ideas in order. So that means you should sign up for a performing right organization so you can collect your publishing, you can get paid that way, copyrights, and then maybe a publisher if you start to make a whole lot of money. So I would say that to anybody looking to get into the business. Make sure you sign up with a performing right organization.
Right.
ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, SoundScan. And if you do well from there, then look for a publisher.
Right.
And go from there.
And that's very good advice. Give them a round of applause. And I'm going to say that because that was another hurdle we had to do. How many music artists got ripped off because they didn't read the contract? They didn't have publishing rights. That's something that people need to know and understand. You need to copyright your stuff, learn how to copyright and do all those things.
Yes.
And T Finesse created a song that I happen to be on with him that I just want to play a little piece of now, during, our protest recently called We Need More Justice. Kick it, Marvin. Play a little bit of that.
We're tired of these nightmare scenes, living with police brutality. Please don't play with our justice.
Hey!
They shot a Michael dead today. They took another to his grave. How many ways will we suffer? We need more justice. It doesn't matter if you're wrong or right. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Fight every day for our justice.
Oh! Yeah!
Harriet Tubman and Marcus Garvey too. They paved the way for me and you. Pave the way for our justice.
All right, give it up for King Finesse. Y'all heard some notes. Y'all heard how he hit them high notes. You know what I'm saying? He hit them notes. You can bring it down now, Marvin. You can bring it down. You can bring it down a little bit.
Let me make this one more thing, right?
Bring it down a little bit.
That song, I was inspired to write that song with what happened to Michael Brown
Okay, in Ferguson.
in Ferguson.
Yes.
That's what made me write that song.
Well, see, that's why I'm trying to tell you what this conversation is all about. What happens to us in our communities inspires the music, and then the music turns around and inspires us.
Yes.
So it works both ways, and it's very powerful. And with the art and everything else that goes with it, that's abstract, that's impactful. I don't know all of the terms for different types of art. But one thing I could tell you is that it's a beautiful thing that people can use music to inspire them. I know if I'm depressed, there's not a song that I can't find that I could play to get me up out of it.
Yep.
True.
That's true.
So we are coming down on the hour. So I want to ask y'all briefly, what is your plans for what you're doing now? And also tell people what you're doing now and where they can find you to either support you or to join you in any kind of way to help you go forward successfully.
Okay, well, I have the Mink's Wearable Art page on Facebook.
Okay.
Where I have all my art, and I also have the Mink's Gold business page where I sell the jewelry.
Yes.
And I have Mink's Madly Muffins where I make my
Madly
baked
Muffins.
goods.
Blueberry muffins.
And then now I'm with the DJs where we do
Yes.
the house music and
Is that
everything.
something that people can come to enjoy as
Yes.
well? Oh, great.
Yes. For City.
And is that on your page too? Do you advertise?
We just started in October, so we're starting. I signed up with BMI, and we're gonna start setting up the YouTube channel.
Make sure you
all
get that
stuff.
publishing right.
Yes.
Get that publishing right
Yep.
now. Yes.
So-
How about you, Shirley? What's going on from here? How can we find you? What do you got? Where do you want them to come and support you at? Let them know now so we can all bust through the door and get our shirts and all our music.
Oh man, I got so many different pages. I'm not gonna kill you guys with everything, but you can find my main page on Instagram, Shalik 111, which is my birthday, 11/1 CEO.
Okay, Capricorn.
Shalik 111 CEO. On my new adventures is now I'm affiliated with a black travel agency, black-owned travel agency.
Wow.
And we cater to more of the upper class, elderly people who's retired and
Right.
have money and they never traveled the world, so we
Yeah.
cater to them. And I DJ on a lot of their trips.
Wow.
So that's a new venture that I'm doing.
Very
right now.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Give it up for them. That's nice. Taking care
It's
of
called
our
Our Gang
seniors,
Travel.
our
Our Gang
elders.
Travel. Our Gang
And how
Travel.
about you, Finesse? Where can they find you?
You can
Let us
find
know.
me. I'm all over the place. So I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on
and it's King
YouTube.
T Finesse. All they have
And
to
it's
do.
just King T Finesse.
King
You
T
can just
Finesse.
Google in the Google search King T Finesse.
Make sure y'all go to King T
iTunes,
Finesse,
Apple, Tidal,
TikTok, all of that.
SoundCloud. I'm all over the place.
Spotify.
Spotify too. Yeah, I'm
all of
over
that.
it. I'm
And y'all
everywhere.
know where y'all can find Community Vibes with Brown
Yes.
Eyes. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for tuning in, all my supporters for supporting, and to let you know that tonight, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes has been filmed at Bravery Studios. Give Bravery Studios a round of applause. If you ever want to do a wonderful podcast, check them out because they do a great job in supporting you, making you look good and sound good. And it also was produced and written by myself and my wonderful producer, co-producer, Kirsten Fulda. Shout out to you, Kirsten Fulda. Thank you. And Marv on the engineer for making us sound good, all the sound effects and everything. And I just want to let you know that we are monthly. And we will see you next month where we'll be coming on to talk about community organizing. And if you go to our YouTube page, please click like and subscribe so that you could get alerts to find out and when we're going on air again. And we do thank you very much. Do you got one more thing to say, Mink?
Yes. You've been such a beautiful sister friend. I'm so proud of you. And I just wanted to give this to you, Sister
Oh my
Warrior.
God!
Wow.
I
The
know how much
warrior
you love the
sister.
so you got the
This
sister
is my
warrior.
This is my warrior. My warrior.
Yes.
Ain't no stopping me now, baby. Thank you, me. I appreciate
I'm so proud of you,
Done by
sis.
her hands. I love this.
I'm
Thank
so
you
proud
so
of you.
much.
You're welcome.
So you can check us out once again next month. We're going to be here at YouTube, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, and continue to support us because we're going to be doing great things in the community. Thank you, and we're going to kick off with King T Finesse. We need more justice.
We need more justice.
See you next month.
We're tired of these nightmare scenes, living with police brutality. Please don't play with our justice. We need more justice. They shot up Michael dead today. They took another to his grave. How many ways will we suffer? We need more justice. It doesn't matter if you're wrong or right. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Fight every day.
for, all we endure. The system's blind every time we find we keep falling behind. Portraying every day like we're making a way-in. Moving up, we get knocked down, so it's time that we're breaking in. History, we be making it. Give respect, or we're taking it. No more time when the game's on my mind. No more shine if you're faking it. Justice for all life, fighting for those equal rights. Hope you not have sight. Unity, we gotta keep the tight for justice.
We're tired of these nightmare scenes in American society.